but currently he's somebody say a bit under the weather, indisposed. So he couldn't join us this morning. And also greeting from the management of SSNIT and the board, which is a bit sensitive, forgive me. And board and management of SSNIT. I must commend the leadership of TUC for this kind of engagement and also the support that they've been giving us all these years. Anytime that we extend our invitation to them to have an engagement such as this one with them, they do not hesitate at all. We really appreciate that. We are always excited and eager every time that we have the opportunity to meet with stakeholders of the scheme. Though you may have tough questions, we have a duty to provide right responses, and we are always ready to do so. Engagements such as this one and partnership with you help us to address concerns that members may have, clarify some misconceptions that you have about the operations of the trust, and improve transparency and accountability and enhance stakeholder buy-in. Hopefully, I will share some very interesting thoughts and insights with you. When you, representatives of the workers, understand how the scheme operates, what informs the amount people receive as pension, the need to contribute on all your incomes, and why everyone must join SSNIT and benefit from the social protection we offer, it makes our work very easy because you are in every district and people place premiums on whatever you tell them. At this point, I'd like to share some slides to guide in our interaction today, if you don't mind. Thank you very much. So we have, as you can see, understanding the value proposition of the SSNIT scheme. The value proposition of the SSNIT scheme. What role that organized labor as partners can play in promoting the scheme among workers in Ghana. That is the topic that we are going to go through. Let me start off with this slide that you see up there. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this is the distribution of salaries that we have in the country. Let me be specific. Distribution of salaries registered with us, with SSNIT, that people have come to register or come to insure with us. And on this slide, you can see that almost 25% of those who have insured their earnings with SSNIT are earning 500 cedis or less. 25%. Out of every 100 people who contribute to SSNIT, 25 of them are declaring salaries that are 500 cedis or less. The same way, almost 66% are declaring salaries that are 2,000 cedis or less. 66% of the total number that we have. And 94.39% are declaring salaries 5,000 cedis or less. That's how much they are saying they earn at the end of every month. And when you get to 35,000, I'm using 35,000 because the new scheme has a limit that you have to, above which you will not accept contributions from your salary. So the salary should be up to 35,000 for this year. It is determined every year. So by the time you get to the maximum of 35,000, we have 99.99%, almost 100% of our contributors are declaring salaries 35,000 cedis or less. So it's only about 251 people, which constitutes 0.01%, that are declaring salaries more than 35,000. So this is the picture that we have. You'll see very soon why I'm showing you this picture. Now let's assume that what we saw there are the salaries of people who are going on pension today. The law states how we calculate your pension. We'll go into detail very soon. Based on what I showed you, this is how their pension is going to look like. In fact, this is the extreme end. If I say extreme end, it is the maximum you can ever get if you become a SSNIT contributor. So it starts from 37.5 up to 60%. That's how much you can get from your declared salaries. So let's assume that the people I showed you, each one of them worked for at least 35 years. And so they got the maximum pension right that I mentioned, which is 60%. When you use that assumption, this, or what you see there, shows the pension that they are supposed to get based on the salaries or the earnings that they declared with us. So you see that the person who was earning 500 cedis is now getting 300 cedis or less. Those who are earning 500 cedis or less, which is about 25% of the people that we have, their pension will be 300 cedis or less. But fortunately, the scheme doesn't even pay anything below 300 cedis. So they will receive 300 cedis. The same way, the guy that I said was getting 2,000, minimum 2,000, which is the third on the row, is getting 900 cedis pension or less. So that is how it goes. And the one who was earning 5,000 as a salary or declared salary as 5,000, he is getting 3,000 as pension. This is the maximum that the person can get, having worked for 35 years or more. Let's look at the other side. The minimum number of months of contribution that is required for somebody to qualify for pension is 180 months. And that translates into a pension rate of 37.5%. Now, if we assume that the list I showed you about the salary distribution, each one of them contributed for just 15 years or 180 months, these are the pensions that the people earn. So the first one would have earned 188 cedis. But as I mentioned, we don't pay anything below 300 cedis. So the person will still get 300 cedis. It goes on and on and on and on until the maximum. The guy who even had 35,000, he's going to get 13,125 cedis as his pension. So you are going to realize that, or you will realize that we have different bands, and it depends on how much the people were earning. That is what is determining the salaries and the pension that they are getting now. So currently on our database, pension payroll, we have this distribution as those who are earning various amounts on the payroll. So we have about 12.8%, about 30% of those on our payroll getting 500 cedis as pension or less. And it goes on, and you see that those who are earning 3,000 cedis or less, they constitute about 96% on our data, on our payroll. And by the time you get to 35,000, we have 99.99%, almost 100%. Everybody is below 35,000. So this is a reflection of the salaries that you earn. That translates into the pension that will be paid to you. Simplicity. Let's look at this table. We've christened it league table. So this league table, those on the left, you can say they are the ones playing the Champions League. And those on the right are the Division 2 people. On the same SSNIT payroll, we have somebody earning as much as 142,000 and change every single month. It's not a year, monthly pension, 142,000. And you can see that 108,000, followed by that, all the way to 42,000 Ghana cedis. So in the OECD term, this is 1.4 billion cedis every month, your scheme, our scheme, is paying an individual that kind of money. At the same time, somebody is earning 300 cedis a month, and I dare say that some of them, if we were to go strictly according to the rules, they were not even going to get 300 cedis. You saw there, those who worked for 15 years and they were earning 500 cedis, they were getting 188 cedis as pension. But the scheme, out of its generosity, doesn't pay anything below 300 cedis. And it goes on and on and on like this. Let me quickly mention that this is for those who are under PNDC Law 247. I'm saying that because under that law, there was no restriction in terms of salaries that you could come and register with us or come and insure with us. If you were earning salary from all kinds of jobs, you could pay on it, and then it can be added and treated as and admitted as part of the earnings that you are getting. And based on that, we pay your pension. But that is not the same under PNCDs and all also coming the same way. So whatever you put in determines what you get. So now let me go on to my presentation. So what is SSNIT about? I'm sure you know by now what SSNIT does, or what we are set up to do. We are the administrators of the Ghana's basic National Social Security Scheme. That's the Tier 1. You know now we have 3-tier system. And we are responsible for replacing parts of your lost income. That's the job of SSNIT. And we replace it in the event that you lose your income through old age retirement, invalidity, or when you die, either in employment or when you are a pensioner and you have not reached the age of 75 years. That is when SSNIT has to come in. In addition, we pay immigration lump sum. Anybody who is between the age of 15 and 45 is allowed to join the scheme. Self-employed people, those in formal employment, by law you are supposed to register your members. If they aren't registered, you are supposed to register, and they will pay contributions on their behalf so that they can enjoy the benefits that I'm going to get you through. SSNIT has a lot of goodies to share. The scheme is partially funded. By partially funded, it means that the contributions that you pay are not enough to pay all your benefits. You'll see that in a second. So we need other people. First of all, we need other people to bring in contributions to pay for the benefits of those already on pension or those who are due for any benefits. That's one. Number two, if there's any excess contribution that we have collected, we need to place it in prudent investments to get some returns, and use the returns also to make sure that the scheme is financially strong and sustainable. And number three, there is this intergenerational transfer of value. Similar to what I mentioned earlier, we need more people to come in to take care of the burden of the old. That's how the scheme operates. And that is what is leading us into the generosity of the scheme. At the moment, we have about 1.7 million active contributors into the scheme. And by active contributors, I mean those who have contributed at least 1 month within the last 1 year. It doesn't mean that SSNIT has only 1.7 million registered people. No. We have about 5.5 million, but some of them are not active. And so I'm talking about the active ones, those who come to pay regularly their contributions and so on and so forth. Out of that population, those from the formal or private sector constitute the maximum, the majority. They constitute 63%. That is about 1.1 million plus. And then the public sector constitutes about 36%. So contrary to what happened in the past, where we have most of the SSNIT workers coming from government establishments and formal sector and so on, now we have 63% of our registered members coming from private establishments. So they are dominating now. Sadly, we have just about 1% of our total membership, active membership, coming from the self-employed sector or the informal sector. We are going to do all that we can to make sure that we include a lot of them. And this is against the backdrop that from the Ghana Statistical Service, we have 11.5 million people who are eligible, who are ready to find, they are in the workforce, let me put it that way. They are working. And so we have some job to do to make sure that we capture some of these people so that they can also benefit from the goodies of the scheme. To become a member, you have an obligation. It's a social contract between you and SSNIT. So your part is to pay contributions. So as a worker, you are supposed to pay 5.5% of your basic salary as your contribution. And then the employer will add 13%, giving a total of 18.5% of your basic salary that you declare with us. And you come and insure with us. And when we have the total 18.5%, 5% of it goes for your second tier. That one, there's no SSNIT that manages that. SSNIT has nothing to do with that one. Then the 13.5% comes to SSNIT. And SSNIT will remit 2.5% of the 13.5% to National Health Insurance on your behalf as the premium for your National Health Insurance. And then keeps the 11%. So it's the 11% of your total salary that is declared to us as a basic salary that SSNIT uses to pay all the benefits that I'm going to talk to you about. Let me quickly say that the scheme is very, very generous. The SSNIT scheme, very, very generous. And you see that in a second. That 11% entitles every worker to these benefits: old age pension, survivor's lump sum, invalidity pension, and then if you are migrating or you have immigrated out of the country for good, then we pay you a lump sum. The same 11%. That's what it does. Even for those who don't qualify for pension, that is those who have reached the retirement age of, say, 55 years and above, but they haven't made the minimum number of months to qualify for pension, we pay them old age lump sum. That's more or less like a return of your contributions with interest on it for you. So the 11% entitles every individual to these benefits that I've listed. So let me talk about the old age pension. So to qualify for old age pension, you must contribute at least 15 years in aggregate into the scheme, or 180 months of the contribution that I talked about. So when you do that, it entitles you to what we call pension rights. The pension right is the right that you have earned as a member of the scheme that SSNIT should replace your lost income through retirement with. So it depends on the number of months of contribution. So if you contribute for 180 months, you are entitled to 37.5% as pension rights, meaning that your starting pension will be 37.5% of the average of the 3 best years' annual salaries that you were earning whilst you were working. It's as simple as that. And for every year that you contribute, you add on to the pension rights. So you can keep adding on. Every year gives you 1.125%, which when you divide by 12, it gives you 0.09375% per month. So you keep adding on until 35 years. That is 420 months, which entitles you to a full or the maximum pension right of 60%. This is what the law says. So 60% of what? 60% of your the average of the best 3 years annual salaries you were earning whilst you were working. That's what it is. So somebody can work 35 years. We have so many people working who are working for 35 years or more. It doesn't mean that you are going to get higher pension. Somebody will get higher pension than you because the salary was high. It's as simple as that. So when we pay you pension, we pay you for life. We keep paying you till you die. Whether you are 75 years, you are 80, 82, we keep paying you. 100, we keep paying you. As long as you live. In fact, my boss will say, we pay you till you don't even know that we have stopped paying you. Because by the time you realize that we have stopped paying you pension, you might be dead and gone. So you don't even see it. That's what the scheme does. And so it assumes this longevity risk. Let me quickly explain. People are growing older these days. We are being health conscious. We are taking care of ourselves, medication, advance in medical technology and all that, exercises. So people are growing, and it reflects even in our database on the pension payroll. So as you grow, if you have even made an investment somewhere to take care of yourself whilst on pension, because you might grow older, you might even exhaust your investments before you die. And what would you do? SSNIT may have to be there to support you if you are part of the scheme. So let me quickly take you through this. This is from our database. This is not some scientific work or research methodology we use to do something. No, this is based on empirical data from our database. But in the year 2002, 20 years ago, those on pension, if you take 100 pensioners, of SSNIT pensioners, 8 of them were 72 years out of 100. And 2 of them were 75 years, and just one. In 2018, they moved to 24, and in 2020, they moved to 25. That's what you see over there. So what does it tell you? It tells you that as we move, and now the current one, 2020, just 2 years ago, those who were 8 here, now they are 25 out of 100. And those who are 2 are now 15, and 7, those who were 80 years in 2002, they were just 1 of them. Now we have 7 of them. And it's likely it will progress as we go along, because as I said, people are taking care of themselves, they are living longer. So if it does so, it means that it's a cost to the scheme, but we are prepared to take it. But that is why you even need to be part of the scheme, so that when you grow old, the scheme can take care of you, and you don't need to hustle, take care of yourself. You have your peace of mind. Whether you grow to be 100 or not, that will not be your burden. The SSNIT scheme will take care of you. I mentioned earlier that for those who are not even entitled to the 300 cedis, you saw that when the person had worked for 15 years and was earning 500 cedis or less, his pension should have been 188 cedis. The scheme doesn't pay below a certain minimum. We call that minimum pension. And that is the 300 cedis you saw on the screen. Now, it is indexed every year by indexation of the pension. It means every year we take into account, the actuaries in the SSNIT will take into account some factors, the wage growth rate, the economic situation and all, and come out with some rates and the ability for the scheme to pay all that. And then increase the pension in payment. So the one that I mentioned, the amount that I mentioned, they are the beginning pension, if you like, the initial pension that people receive. But every year it is adjusted through indexation. That is, we add some value to it every year. And in fact, if somebody started getting a pension of 1,000 cedis 7 years ago, that's the year 2015, the person's pension was 1,000 Ghana cedis. As at today, 7 years on, the person is now getting over 2,300 cedis. Hello? He started 1,000. Now he's getting 2,000 plus as his pension in 7 years. For those of the lucky ones who have been on pension for like 17 years, they are getting over 11 times. So they started with 1,000 cedis some 17 years ago. Then they are getting over 11,000 Ghana cedis. They didn't add any money to it, all coming from the scheme. Your scheme, my scheme. The lucky ones, there are not many. They started pension in the year 2000, 22 years ago. Oh, they are getting almost 40 times what they started with. So they started with 1,000 Ghana cedis 22 years ago. That's the year 2000. Somebody said 1,000 Ghana cedis, but maybe back then it was too much. So let me take 100 Ghana cedis. Let's say the pension in the year 2000. Year 2000 for most of us is not too far. Remember something for all by the year 2000. So by the year 2000. I'm sure you remember that. We're coming to the new millennium and all that. And check, right? The person was getting 100 cedis as pension. As we speak, he's getting over 4,000 Ghana cedis. The scheme is paying that person. He hasn't made any extra contribution. So we keep indexing. So that's what the indexation does. So every time it tries to upgrade and give you more value. Talking about value, the scheme has a superior value. In fact, if you compare to any of the people in the industry, the insurance companies and all that, I can tell you on authority that no one of them, none of them, can compare their benefits they pay to their members to what SSNIT does. None of them. They can't survive if they should attempt to pay such claims. And here is why. We sampled 7,600 people from our database and said, we've been hearing people talk about, as for SSNIT scheme, would you see coming back right if I can point or for treasury bill rates, treasury bills, and invest in treasury bills? If my contribution, I was able to invest my contributions in treasury bill when I joined the scheme. By now, by the time I retired, I'll have more money than what SSNIT was going to pay me. That is a fallacy. That is not supported by the facts. So we try to see if there's any truth in the saying that we've been hearing every time. So we sampled these 6,600 people and said, okay, so they joined the scheme at various points. Let's assume that the contributions that they brought to us, they had invested that contributions on their own in the safest area. And in Ghana, the safest area you can invest your contribution is what? TB rates. Because government doesn't default. If government defaults, government is part of us. We will definitely pay you. So that's the safest. In fact, elsewhere, they call it the risk-free investment. Almost no risk. But not other places that you've heard in the news and people are demonstrating to get their money. You go there the next time, the door is locked. There's nobody there. Your money is gone. You heard about pyramid and so on in the past. No, none of that. Let's talk about safe environments. Government of Ghana treasury bills. So we invested all these contributions in Government of Ghana treasury bills, and compounded the investments. So when you joined the scheme in the year 2000, for example, whatever your amount of contribution was, we put in investment, theoretically. So we know the treasury bill rate, and so we put in the investment and compound it. By compound, we add the interest, and then when the contribution comes, we add it to it, invest it with the prevailing treasury bill rate, and then the following month in contribution, we add it to it, like that, religiously, till you retire. So we did that accumulation. So when you compound and compound and compound till the person gets to the age of 60, then you leave the amount there. Let's say we had 100,000 Ghana cedis. Then we say, we pay pension. This person has been on pension for 12 years, guaranteed, because that's the guarantee period under the whole scheme. He's been on pension for 12 years. Let's take the pension that we pay this guy. We have paid the person 12 years pension. Let's bring the pension back. That is, discount it to the time that he retired. Though we are paying you this money into the future when you retire, the future means after retirement to date. So now we are taking it back to when you retired, so that we can compare those two monies. The accumulation up to 60, and then the discount up to 60. That's how you can compare monies. The two monies move with time and interest. So different times, different money, different value. When we did that, empirical, facts, fake data on our database, verifiable. Those who had been on pension for 12 years, the investment that he had done religiously, no fees. You place the money in TB rate, you are not taking anything out, you keep adding. Accumulated to, let's say, 100,000. When we did that, we discounted the pensions paid to these people. Those who have been on pension for 12 years, they almost got 200,000 cedis from SSNIT, while their investment was giving them 100,000 cedis. So the pension that we are paid, discounted, was about twice their investment. That's how the scheme operates. That's how generous the scheme is. For those who had been on pension for 15 years, they were getting even more than twice, about 2.5 times their investments. That's how they got. And that's why I said this is verifiable. It goes on and on. For those who are lucky, few ones who have been on pension for 29 years since the scheme started, they have been on pension. And you understand this because by the time you retire, you are no longer adding on to your contributions. No contribution comes to SSNIT. But you are now drawing from the scheme. So as you live longer, then you get more money in comparative terms. That's how it is. That's how you count those who have been on pension for 29 years. they are getting 46 times. Let me explain 46 times. If you have 1,000 as your investment, contributions accumulated religiously, no fees, and it's 1,000 cedis. When we did that, after being on pension payroll for 29 years, we were getting 46,000 compared to your 1,000. That's what I mean by 46 times. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So SSNIT value, in terms of the pension, was giving you 46,000 cedis as compared to your 1,000 cedis that you accumulated and had at retirement. Now let's look at this. This is where I'm comparing your part of the contribution, 5%. Because you are supposed to contribute 5%, employer, no, in your case it's 5.5%. But I'm using the old scheme where we have 5% from the employee and employer was adding 12.5%. So let's look at the employee's contribution alone. If the employee were to invest and accumulate it till retirement and come to standard, because 5% is far lower than the 17.5%. And that is what it shows over there. It goes on and on. So they compare. So for here, it was 46 times, but here it was 480 times. If we were to use only your part of the contribution. That's what it is. Let's look at this interesting figure. Now we said, okay, let's look at it in another way. Suppose you accumulated all these contributions with interest, you put in treasury bill rate till retirement, and you had your 1,000 cedis. No, for this, let me use, say, 100,000. You had your 100,000 cedis when you put in your contribution over 20-something years of, 30 years, 35 years of working. You invested that contribution total, employer and yours. And then you say that SSNIT has paid me pensions, so I'm going to pay myself the pension that SSNIT paid me out of my investment. But here's the trick. The money will not be sitting at home in your wardrobe. So you say that I'm smart, so I'm going to put this, my investment, 100,000 cedis that are accumulated at retirement, put in an investment again, and be paying myself out of it. Are you getting the drift? Hello? Am I speaking with somebody? Aha. So I have my 100,000, my contributions that I've invested up to the point that I retired. But I want to pay myself the pension that SSNIT has been paying me, the same pension, out of that investment. But when I pay myself, I'll invest the balance. Because I'll not keep the balance in my wardrobe, in my room. I'll invest the balance for more money. That's what everybody will do. Then when it matures, I'll take my pension out of it and invest the rest. Throughout. How long would my investment last me if I were to go by SSNIT pension? When we did that for the 7,600 people, on average, their investment was lasting them less than 10 years. In fact, 9.37 years. That's how much their investment also invested at TB rates accumulated every quarter and taking their pension out. Then it's reducing. By the time they get to 9 years, it's almost done. 10 years, gone. Meanwhile, SSNIT pays you guaranteed 12 years, whether you live or die, it's yours. So even there and then, the scheme is better. Because you have guaranteed period of 12 years, but your investment will last you less than 10 years. That alone. If you were to use only your 5% contribution to invest and then pay yourself pension out of it, that one will last you less than 4 years. But the scheme will pay you after 12 years till you die. That is your scheme. That is our scheme. Survivor's lump sum. So the scheme, your 11% I mentioned from the beginning, remember the 11%, I want you to keep in mind. That 11% entitles you to what I've told you, your pension for life. Number two, there is this kind of life policy in the contribution, in that even when you are working and you are not retired, touch wood, you are called by your maker. SSNIT assumes that you were 60 years. And then, if you are not make the minimum number of months of contribution of 180 months to qualify for pension, SSNIT gives you that already. Let's say you were just a young person and then age 40. You joined the SSNIT scheme 10 years ago and then you died. You didn't make the minimum 15 years. But SSNIT, the scheme will give you 15 years. and to assume that you are also 60 years. And then calculate your pension at that point that you are dead. And say that you are also entitled to guarantee period of 15 years pension. Give all that and discount that amount and pay to your beneficiaries that you nominate. That is the SSNIT scheme for you. Life policy, assured. And in fact, last year we paid over 374 million in terms of survivors' payments. It's a lump sum, it's not a pension. Survivors' lump sum. That's what it is. Now, the most generous of all the benefits that SSNIT has to offer is the invalidity pension. The invalidity pension is paid to those who are incapable of any gainful employment by virtue of the fact that they have some permanent diseases, or they are incapable in terms of mental or physical health well-being. So his doctor or her doctor has declared him invalid, and there is a committee, or if you like, a board, a medical board, that will be constituted with SSNIT represented on it to affirm or otherwise the verdict of the medical person, medical doctor of the individual. If the board confirms that the individual is permanently incapable of any gainful employment because of the mental or physical deformity, then you are placed on pension for life. That is, if you are also made at least 12 months within the last 36 months before the occurrence of that event, occurrence of that invalidity. Those are the two conditions. So you make 12 months contribution in the last 3 years or last 36 months before the occurrence of the event. And then the medical board also confirms that you are permanently incapable of any gainful employment. Then you are put on pension for life. In that case, we assume that you are 60 years. It doesn't matter your age. If you meet these two conditions, age doesn't come in. Whether you are 20, 28, 35, 50, you qualify. We give you age limit of 60 years. And then we also assume that you made a minimum 180 months. Even though you are contributed for 12 months, we give you 180 months and calculate your pension and put you on pension for life. Now, assuming that we have even put you on pension and we have paid you pension for 10 years, and through some means, miraculous means, you got healed, you got your health back, and now you can work again, you must come to SSNIT and inform us. 10 years ago, I was permanently incapable of engaging in any gainful employment. But now, some angel touched me and I can do everything that I used to do. You say hallelujah. The good news is that go and continue from where you left off 10 years ago in terms of contribution. Go and work and continue to contribute. All the monies that we have paid to you the last 10 years are shit. You chop on free. You are not going to take it from you. We have even forgotten that we have paid you 10 years pension. Continue from where you are, and you are entitled to all the benefits again, fresh, as if you are a new person now. This is your scheme. This is what the SSNIT scheme does. Highly subsidized. And I'm talking about somebody who has done only 12 months of contribution. So, as we speak, we have over 1,500 people on invalidity pension. And last year alone, we paid over 18.4 million as invalid to some this 1536 invalid pensioners. In fact, the youngest person on the invalidity pension is about 31 years. And when he went on pension, invalidity pension, he was 29. And the oldest person is 83. He was 53 when he went on invalid pension. And he's been on it for over 30 years. 30 years invalid pension. And the highest person we are paying on the invalidity payroll is receiving 11,000 plus every month. And this guy is going to be on this thing for life. And he was probably very young. And of course, as you saw in the league table, the lowest person, it reflects here too. That's the 332 Ghana cedis. as the lowest. And I can tell you, if we were to go by the calculation, this person will not even be entitled to this amount. I mentioned to you that we pay immigration benefits as well. And that one is for those who registered with us as non-Ghanaians. They came to work in the country, they are living the country for life, or they've left for life. They are entitled to their return of their contributions if they made some contributions. What have we been up to all these years? We are here to let you know what we've been up to and where we want to go, so that you know what has been happening to your scheme. We have integrated with NIA to leverage the national platform for a more effective and efficient identification of our members. And this has so many benefits, including convenience. You can come and do business with us easily, because you have the NIA card. You don't have to carry more than one card. Just the NIA card is enough. And for us, trying to protect the purse, that will eliminate the cost of printing cards for the members, because the NI card will suffice to do business with us. It also helps in it has improved the processing of claims for easy identification. When people are, the survivors benefit, for example, when they came for their claims, when they have the NI card, it's easy to identify them because it's authentic. We are also, it's going to help us to expand the coverage, because now the new people coming on board, they don't need to go through registration of SSNIT and getting card and waiting for, no, with the NIA card, straight up, you are covered. And then you become a member of the scheme after taking some information from you. At the same time, we're complying with the law. I'm sure you know that it has been said that by July, from 1st July, you cannot do business even in the whole country that needs identification card without the NIA card. So by so doing, we are also complying with the law. So far, about 1.9 million people or numbers have been merged with SSNIT, NIA card and SSNIT. And the breakdown is what you see there. Over 383,000 are from pensioners and beneficiaries of the survivors lump sum. 1.2 million active members have already done so, and about 393 people who we term as inactive have also merged their cards. There was a transitional period between June last year and June this year, and that allowed us to deploy systems to enable our workers or our members to merge their cards. And as I said, from July, the Ghana card is the only identification recognized by SSNIT or by the trust. If you want to come and do business with us, please make sure that you have merged your card. You can do so on your phone using the code *711* #9#, or you can visit our website, and we have steps that you follow and get your cards merged or your numbers merged. Lastly, you can even walk into our offices, any of our offices, and you'll be assisted in terms of merging your cards. We've also had some stakeholder engagements in the past few years, so as to make sure that the people understand what we are doing and bring in more people to join the scheme. And so it will help us to extend coverage, especially to the self-employed. In fact, recently, about 2-3 months ago, we had this engagement across the country, all the 10 traditional regions. We met various groups that we felt that we need to bring them on board, and that included net rights, informal sector trade associations, GPRTU people were there, Parliamentary Select Committee, we met them, poultry farmers, Ghana Hairdressers Association, and even recently we met the clergy. So these are our engagements with our stakeholders that we feel that it will help us to extend coverage, because once they understand what we are about and they understand the scheme, they in turn become the apostles, and they will let the message go down and get more people to come and join us. We had employers meetings. In fact, by that engagement, we were able to meet over 200 employers and try to sell to them the idea of Social Security and why it is necessary for them to especially pay on their actual salaries. or earnings of their members because of the benefits that the scheme has, so that they are not shortchanged. We've trained over 1,400 focal persons to do part of the business for us. And there is even a quarterly publication that keeps stakeholders informed about what is going on in SSNIT, and we call the News Report. We also engage about 9 tertiary institutions, universities, meeting over 11,000 students and trying to bring the social security to them. In fact, we had also face-to-face public education, meeting employers and employees, trying to sell the scheme to them. Not only that, we have what we call the supplementary readers. Now we want to catch them young. So we are going down to even the secondary schools. So their curricula has been somehow adjusted to make sure that by the time they come out, they have an idea about social security and they are aware. And so that will help drive the, as I said, expand the coverage. It will make it easier for them to join us because they will understand it before they even leave school. Workers that we have reached so far, the breakdown is what you see there. In 2018, about 90,000. Fast forward 2021, 698,000. So you can see our presence. Not only that, you can, when you visit our digital platforms, we are there. Presence is felt everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, we are there everywhere. So you can do business with us. You can get information. You can also send your feedback, and we act on the feedbacks. We have over 496,000 followers. And I'm talking about those who have signed on or subscribed and are following all that we do. And we have reached over 1.7 million clients every month. We are able to reach them and get information across. So these are what we've been up to all these months and years. We have recorded about over 10,000 monthly visits to our website. People come to check on us. So now the information that we are putting out there is syncing and it's showing, the results are showing in our operations that we have recorded. Our image has improved. I'm sure you can testify to it. And people are aware, and now they know about SSNIT more than before. So it's something that we are continuing to do and engaging the public in it. In addition, we have opened, or we now have Saturday office hours. For those who are so busy during the week and they cannot come and do business with us, they can visit us, some of the offices, about 9 of them, in Kumasi, Takoradi, and Accra. So when you visit, even in Tema here, C2, we have an office open on Saturdays where you can come and do business with us if you're not able to do business with us during the week. And these are all parts of reaching out to people, making it easier and convenient for our members, employers as well, to do business with us. We embark on actions to improve the sustainability, the financial sustainability of the scheme, so that we can pay accurate benefits. Now, in Ghana, or anyway, let me use Ghana. People die, and there's pensioners. The old man probably was weak and was sending the grandchild with the ATM card. And then the grandchild was withdrawing the pension for the man, because if you don't default, third Thursday of the month, your pension is in your account. He can't go to the bank, so he gives a card. Then this guy will go and withdraw the money and all that. Unfortunately, when the grandpa dies, instead of them reporting to SSNIT that, oh, my granddad or my father or my brother, something, they will not. And they will still continue to withdraw the money. But when the person is 75 years or more, you are supposed to come to SSNIT every year to fill what we call the pensioner certificate, to show that you are alive and should continue to pay you. I told you that we'll pay you for life. So we should make sure that once you have exhausted the guarantee period of 15 years of pension, you should pay the money to you as pension, but not to any other bed. Nobody is entitled to pension apart from you. The rest, if anything at all, they'll be entitled to survivors' lump sum, but not pension. So for those withdrawing the pension, they are doing so fraudulently. In fact, at some point, the law will catch up with them. But that's what they do. So, in order to make sure that we protect the pairs, we instituted what we call the mass deactivation of pensioners on the payroll for those who were 75 years and above and had not filled the pension certificates. When we did that starting 2018, we were able to save as much as 327 million. Ghosts, they never resurrected. So that is one of the ways, critical ways we are using to protect the pairs, your scheme, so that the scheme becomes financially sustainable. So as of June, this year, last month, we have saved about 327 million cedis for us. In terms of our investments, we are rebalancing our portfolios to make sure that they are high performing and we are getting value for money. Prudent management of our investment. I'm sure recently you heard about expression of interest on some of our hotels that we're not doing so well in terms of our expectation. These are all part of the actions we are taking to make sure that our investments give us the maximum of returns. In fact, contrary to what people say, that say the investment is bad and please, they are far from the truth. As we speak, okay, so now we invest over 99% of our 99% or more of our investments are are local. We don't do offshore that much. And out of that, this is the table. We are 74% of it under real estate sector, financial, and energy. These are areas that we place investment, they are safe, and we are getting the maximum of returns from there. And our total assets under management, AUM you see there is called asset under management. Please let me explain this. Asset under management, what you saw there, this table, these are the areas, the sectors that we place our investments. Number one. Number two, they are made up of different, if you like, assets under the industry, the real estate industry. In all that, if you take the market value of all these investments and put together in the current market value of all these investments, it gives you 10.54 billion. That's what we call asset under management. So literally speaking, it's like asset that SSNIT is managing, if you like. Though we are not managing them. Somebody is doing that on our behalf. But it's under our care. That is our investment. That's how we call asset under management. Not that we are under managing anything. That's not what it means. So let's get that one clear. And out of that, 98.2% of them are doing very okay. It's just 1.8% of them that we can call non-performing assets. Now let me put it in perspective. Even with the 1.8%, we are doing, that's what I explained to you earlier, that we are rebalancing our investment portfolios, we are doing this expression of interest, we are doing everything to make sure that that even goes down further so that we can have more value for money. But when in comparative terms, for example, in the banking industry, internationally, if you are doing about 3% non-performing, or if your investments have about 3% of them being non-performing, you are good to go. You can Google, you can check with the banking industry. They can allow up to 3 to 5%. You are fine. It goes beyond that, then you must be sitting up because it will be affecting your finances. So even the 3% benchmark that everybody knows that is acceptable everywhere, because you don't have 100% of your investment doing excellently. Otherwise, you'll not be investment. There's a risk to any investment. Even that, we are doing 1.8%. Below the normal 3% that is allowable. So SSNIT is not doing badly at all. Your money is safe with SSNIT. And MPRA boss said that we have about a quarter of total asset under management in the insurance industry. SSNIT has about a quarter of them. What are we going to do next? What are we up to? Or what is next for us? In the coming weeks, or days or weeks, we are going to roll out a comprehensive campaign to register the self-employed persons and the informal sector workers onto the scheme. We have already engaged them, as I mentioned earlier, across the country some 3 months ago, 2 months ago. But now we're going to roll out that campaign to get them involved. There will be continuous public education and stakeholder engagements like this, and then training of focal persons, breakfast meetings, all those that are listed, they are good. They are yielding results. We are going to continue doing them. We are going to launch as the SSNIT app. This are not going to be in months. In fact, we have already started the program, and it's going to come into operation very, very, very soon, where you can do business with us on your phones. You don't need to come to our office to do some kinds of business. Our websites are going to be more interactive so that you can provide every information and also serve you better just on our website. And we are going to restructure our service delivery model to provide services, good services for our members like you. So, let me summarize what I've done today. I said that the SSNIT scheme, what you put in determines what you get. It's not just the number of months that you have contributed, no. It's the amounts that you were earning as your pension. That determines, as your salary, that determines your pension. You must take full advantage of the scheme by ensuring your total earnings. Let me quickly mention that some people have allowances, belt allowance, hook allowance, scarf allowance, all kinds of allowances. You may not enjoy them, others have. And they don't insure that with SSNIT. They only insure their basic salary and leave all those allowances. So when they go on retirement, we don't know the allowances, we know the basic. You can't come and go to an insurance company, insure a TUC, and when you get an accident, you want the company to pay you a Mercedes. It doesn't work that way. So if you want to insure your lifestyle, then as workers, all of us, we should make sure that our salaries and the allowances are consolidated so that you can have enhanced salaries, which will translate to enhanced pension. That's what we should be talking about. As I said, SSNIT scheme is a defined benefit one, and you can sit and calculate your pension even before you go on retirement. Even if you were to retire 10 years from now, you can still do and have an idea how much you are going to receive as pension, so that you can work towards that. And I told you that it guarantees you pension for life. We pay you till you die, and you don't even know when we stop paying you. I talked about the invalidity. The same 11% gives you the invalidity pension that replaces you for life. And then I said, we have never defaulted in paying anybody pension. Third Thursday of the month, krong, is in your account, maximum. Some get it before, depending on your bank. SSNIT has never defaulted in paying pension, so your money is safe with us. So far as you fulfill your part of the contract, which is paying contributions to us, we fulfill ours. We also pay you benefits when they are due. I told you we replace part of your lost income through old age, retirement, invalidity, or death. That's what we do. Finally, we have this 3-tier system. We are operating the first year. The second year, you were told how you have fund managers, you have custodians, you have trustees. We have a 3rd-tier system, which also it's optional, but it operates with the fund manager, trustees, and custodians. Please take advantage of it, because there's a tax incentive that you gain from being part of the 3rd tier. You can have about up to 35% of your basic salary being tax-free, and the remaining 65% is what is going to be taxed. So 18.5% goes to 1st and 2nd tier. Then you can have up to 16.5% more for 3rd tier of your salary. That will serve as an investment for you or savings for you. And when you retire, you can have that one in addition to your 2nd tier as a lump sum. Now, insurance, NIC people tells us that, insurance commission, that they are licensed people who are now going to come into the market with annuity products, where you take your lump sum from 2nd tier and 3rd tier and go and give it to the insurance company and say, this is my 100,000, my lump sum, but I want you to pay me pension every month for the next 15 years or 20 years. They can do that for you. So they take your money and determine the pension that they can pay you. And then you add that one to the 1st year to enhance your benefits. On that score, I'll say a very big thank you to you for the patience and understanding of this. Thank you.